It's Tuesday, April 2nd, Wednesday, April 3rd, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the melting mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Go shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store because it's a great way to support what we do, and read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Insuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Insuho banner, and subscribe today. The first Tuesday of every month, we get a little spiritual around SOR headquarters as we bring in the master of the Zen and the Chi, Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation in San Francisco, California. Geraldine went through a life-altering experience a few years ago, which made her shift her entire life plan, going from a six-figure career to creating a brand new beginning for herself in spirituality, meditation, and helping others live with their own personal and extraterrestrial experiences. Geraldine's website, she has a couple, GeraldineOrozco.com and BayAreaMeditation.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the news in the SOR Newswire. So we're glad to have Geraldine back on the show. My good friend, how are you doing?
I'm wonderful, Dave. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I am thawing out. Barely any snow left in the yard. I can actually drive down the final half of my driveway once again and park at the bottom because there's no ice that's going to take me through my fence. I'm very happy about this, and you're not going to believe this. I'm going outside without a jacket on these days. It's like 55, wow. 58 degrees. It is like shorts weather. Shorts weather.
Oh, my God. Well, I am so happy to hear that it's less cold for you out there. I was suffering for you over here.
Oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We are doing just fine in the heat level, in everything. Like I said, shorts weather. I mean, it's not as hot as California, but it's hot enough for Dave and hot enough for the people around here, which is very nice. And my buddy Mikey, who's in the chat room, he's been bringing me some Tim Hortons ice caps to calm me down. It's like a coffee Slurpee kind of thing. And I'm pretty happy about that. Pretty happy about, what the sun brings out in everybody. Fantastic.
Wow, I'm so glad. And here comes summer. I'm so excited for spring and summer. It's going to be just amazing. There's so many amazing events. And you know what I've been noticing is actually today reviewing all the upcoming UFO and ET and disclosure events. Is it just me, or are there more events than ever, Dave, for these kinds of disclosure events? It's amazing.
I know. And you know what? I've actually, and I'm sure a few of our audience members will get sick of me saying this, but I've actually been a little angry about a lot of these events because, there's a lot of hard-working people in this field, Geraldine. You're one of them. We know a bunch of them as well. You know a bunch, and they never seem to get a shot at a conference. And yet you see these people with questionable resumes, questionable details, who've maybe either kissed their butts on their way to the top, or to get all these paracons and UFO cons or spiritual cons, whatever you want to call it. And in the meantime, the people who have tried to do it the right way, with hard work, with proper research, with proper technique, have never tried to screw anybody over. They never seem to get invited. And I'll be honest with you, I'm quite frustrated with that.
I know. Well, I'm hoping that as we come into a new paradigm, a new way of looking at these things, I think a lot is changing, Dave. And I've noticed that with this event that I was just at, the UFO MegaCon. We had a lot of new speakers, new people that are on are literally presenting for the first time. And I'm telling you, their presentations were amazing. The information that came out, it was a plethora of information from, focused on UFO contact to experiencers to the research to physicists. I mean, it was just amazing. And I think we need that. The audiences are asking for that kind of a really authentic, really in-depth research that we are all kind of thirsty, that knowledge that we're thirsty to kind of hear and get into. So I think things are changing. I'm hoping for the better. And so as we get more events, I'm hoping that we are kind of adding these new speakers to the pool with new information. So let's hope for that. Space. We have to demand that round too.
You know what? And here's the thing, and I agree with you. There's a lot of first-timers out there who deserve the opportunity to stand on a big stage, much like UFO MegaCon that just happened, or Contact in the Desert, or wherever it may be. There's a lot of good people out there who deserve that opportunity. And, every year, and God bless Lorian Fenton for recognizing the fact that we don't always have to have the same olds at every conference. Let's bring out some new faces. Let's bring out some new stories. And major credit for her for doing that, along with Jordan Peace as well for MegaCon. And I apologize, I forget the other gentleman's name. But on the flip side, what I want to see with a lot of these conferences out there is, it's obvious to me, and I'm not going to name names because I don't think that's fair. I think the audience can figure out who they are and what they're all about. But for me, I find it very disappointing when I go through the list, and I don't care if my name is on there or not, or that doesn't bother me. If somebody asks me to come speak, of course I'm going to do that because it's a lot of fun. Right? But if I'm not, I do go through the list, not out of jealousy and say, oh my God, that guy's speaking and I'm not. It's not about that. It's about, I think a lot of these conferences, what they need to be doing though, is they need to be checking the credentials of the people who are speaking a little bit more than what they are. Now, I know Lorian does, and I know a couple other people do. Eric Cooper does up here with his. But on the flip side, there's so many conferences, or that guy or that girl had a shot at on this television show, and well, we got to get him. And in the meantime, everybody in the UFO field knows they're a fraud, and that happens all the time. And I just wish, in my dream of a reality of paranormal conferences, I just wish the homework would get done. That's all I'm asking, and I don't think it's too hard.
Absolutely. You're right. And it's important that we look at the kind of information that we're coming out with, because in this time of information, massive amounts of also deception is out there. So we need to start looking at, the information and, opening space for other people that have really truly experienced things, that have seen things, that have real things to share with people. And also, we are seeing a lot of people that are really relating to these things because they are experiencing things as well. So having those kinds of credentials and reviews and of what they're researching in their field of study is really, really important. So as to not create any more confusion out there, So I agree 100%, Dave. Thanks for saying that. And I really did see that at this conference this time. I think this is going to be a good one, what we're looking at here.
What broke my heart is I couldn't make it down to UFO MegaCon. I knew I was not speaking this year on the tap because Lorian had said, look, I try to rotate a number of people every couple of years. Don't worry, Dave. I'm going to bring you in next year. I'm like, whatever. Not a big deal to me. But I was really hoping to get down there because a lot of my personal friends, and I consider you a personal friend, Tana Newberry, Misha Johnson, Lorian, Melinda Leslie is good friends, but Samantha Mowat, Johnny Enoch. I mean, I brought Samantha out to this world of Paracons and UFO cons through hers and my experience, and I introduced her to Lorian. Johnny Enoch, like I said, he helped me start up this radio show. Then you got Grant Cameron, Richard Dolan, and a number of people that I've had on this show and consider like really good friends. I wanted to get down there so bad, and it sucked because last Sunday, not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before last, my phone started ringing from a couple of people down there saying, Dave, we're looking for you. Where are you? And I'm like, I'm at home. I'm at home. Like all of a sudden I went into Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, where I'm at home. I'm sitting here in my studio. Literally, that's what it was like. Just like that.
Oh, Dave, I'm so sorry to hear that, but you were missed. You were definitely missed, and we certainly hope to see you there next year. No doubt about it, because there will be another one.
Oh, yeah. I will not miss another one. Speaking of which, what did you get to talk about this past week at UFO MegaCon?
Boy, we got into a deeper side of things, and this is a new presentation for me. Usually I talk about the hybridization program, and I talk about my personal experiences, and also the concept of control systems that have come in since the beginning of time, the alteration of genetics. But today, during the presentation, I talked about DNA as a currency of our past, our present, and our future. And the focus of the presentation was to talk about holographic DNA and how our DNA is a massive storage system that is holding on to all of experiences. And from my research, from my perspective, things that we have been experiencing on multiple dimensions, which to simplify that means that we are storing maybe information from other lifetimes, literally in our DNA. And what's interesting about that is that our genetics, the information that we can read, that our biology is reading, is talking about, let's say, something like ancestral trauma that is passed down. And we talked about this in other shows, how ancestral trauma is passed down through the family, lineages. And that really helps us kind of understand how information is playing out throughout our everyday experiences. So this is just another more in-depth look at that. And from the perspective of how holographic DNA functions and the structure of reality, almost as if a mirror from how our body is set up, or maybe our universe is a mirror of how our body is set up. So we got into a lot of things, and it was a wonderful experience. And I got a chance to speak with astrophysicist Rudy Shields about it, and he's amazing. He was there speaking as well on the structure of the universe. And, we got into some of these conversations about how everything is being modified right now genetically, even our food, and that's another big issue that we can talk about tonight if we'd like, and how it genetically modifies our genes and how we pass that down to our children and our families. And there really is an effect on our system, on our body. So, that was my presentation, Dave.
Sounds absolutely fantastic in regards to that. And we're going to get more into the whole DNA aspect later on in the show. But one of the things I wanted to ask you about UFO MegaCon, because I do want to give credit where credit is due, Jordan Peace, Lori, and Fenton and their entire team for putting on an amazing event in Laughlin, Nevada. And I believe next year at the end of March, they're going to do it again. And I want to make sure that all Spaced Out Radio listeners have the time to check that out, because we definitely want to make sure that they all get down there. But nonetheless, what really stood out for you at this 7-day-long conference?
Let me see. I had a chance, for the speakers that I did have a chance to listen to, it was very interesting to listen to Dan Brock. Dan Brock is, he talked about the multidimensional energetic aspects of the human being and life, and how we are talking about artificial intelligence, how to identify artificial intelligence, the difference between consciousness and how it plays a role in artificial intelligence and in humans. That was really amazing. I really loved Cheryl Costa's presentation. And Cheryl Costa actually is very interesting how she has a book that is, documenting all of the sightings that have been done, which is very interesting. Are you familiar with Cheryl Costa's work?
I've known a little bit about her work. What did she speak on there?
Yeah, she was talking about UFOs and the extraterrestrial presence, talking about how the media is looking at, information, how it's kind of sometimes often displaced, and, how we can look at the history and she has an incredible statistical analysis of 17 years of this kind of sightings and reports in the U.S. So she talks about how, mainstream media doesn't pick up a lot of these really incredible sightings. And she goes into her book and how they are really trying to publish and have this information out for people.
That's awesome. And, I'll tell you one thing, and I've said it on this show, and I've talked to a few different conference people about this, and I am adamant on this part, Geraldine, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. I think the fact that very few people are actually speaking about the media narrative that many in the field of ufology have, and I will be talking to George Knapp about this when he's on the show on Thursday. I think it's dangerous. I really do believe it's dangerous, and a lot of these conferences, I think, are blowing past this incredibly important topic which affects the public. What's your thoughts?
I agree completely, and I think that as we as a collective are coming into maybe honoring our own experiences more and more, this information, we're looking for these authentic fields of information. We're looking for places that will provide us with the information that we need to understand what's occurring in the world at large. And all of these things of disclosure, all of these things, there seems to have been a lot of control with the information. And, well, George Knapp was there. He was there at the conference, so he did talk a little bit about that. But I think it's really important that we start asking for these things to be talked about. So much is being controlled, but I think things are coming out more and more, Dave. I mean, more and more we're seeing things in mainstream media. We are hearing about, abductions. We're hearing about sightings. We're hearing about the secret space program. We're hearing about a lot of things that are coming out in mainstream, and I think that's it's opening space for these things. So things are changing. I really feel that.
Well, I hope they do change, because the way we can move together on this is if we keep everybody informed. Now, that may sound quite, how can we put it, almost John Lennon perfect, if we look at the song Imagine. But the reality is, everything is so spread out. Everybody seems to have an agenda in regards to it. So when you go to these conferences, and you're going to be speaking at a few more in 2019 here, and I've got 2 in September that I'm speaking at, back-to-back weekends in Toronto and then just outside of Seattle. Do you look at the fact when you were there that you were studying what people are talking about and the importance of maybe what is not being talked about and how it can affect what you're doing personally?
Sure. I mean, well, to be honest, yes. Everybody has their own field of study, and I think that everyone has their own, specific expertise and through their experiences and through their filters. So, when I go to these conferences, I really try to absorb as much information, everything that I don't know, everything that I, try to research myself. And there are certain areas that I'm more interested than others personally. But when you listen to these people talk about their incredible experiences and give you new perspectives on everything, from the new science that's coming out, from, our rewriting our history books and how we look at the information that's been put out, it changes. It's really paradigm shifting. Now, do I look at that, and does it affect what I write about? To be honest, I have to say no, because I can only speak on what I know. I can only speak from my point of research, and I believe that each one of us has a very specific point of, expertise and a specific point of information. And I think that helps us become great in what we do. If we stick to our realm of study, and of course, my realm of study is a little bit broad in perspective, from the hybridization to spirituality to the multidimensional reality. Those are my main speaking points. And from that perspective, picking up these key elements from research that other people do it's a gift. It's a gift to be able to pull that in. But does it affect how I speak? Not directly. I would say indirectly, in a sense where if I notice that there are parts that maybe I can do more research on, whether it has to do with genetics or with the new science that's coming out, it's almost as if we really are a collective, and each one of us plays an important role in the message, in the overall message that we give out, that we deliver to help educate those that come in to these conferences. My hope is that, what's occurring actually, Dave, what I've noticed at this conference as well, is that somehow it's almost like we complement each other. And I'm telling you, I don't know the majority of these speakers personally, but the kind of information, the level of information that's coming out is all so complementary to each other. And that's very interesting, and that really says something about the collective consciousness and how we are all maybe going through a certain evolution, or, we're receiving the same waves of information collectively. And it's really beautiful to see that. I feel that we're all kind of growing into this organism of understanding with this new information, this new wisdom. And from there, I expect the audience to ask the questions so that as speakers, we know what to focus on next. It's kind of like as we go through our own healing, through our own understanding of reality, so does the collective. So I'm hoping that that continues, because it was beautiful to see that in this conference.
Well, we got about 30 seconds here before we got to go to break. And I want to make a comment here, because Eric the Awakening Man was at UFO MegaCon, and I'm a little hurt by his statement in the chat room here on Spreaker. He says, Geraldine looked marvelous as usual in Laughlin last week. Her hair blows away Dave's hair. Oh. Just another wound for missing UFO MegaCon last week. And this is why we are Eric with a K's third favorite show. Right there. But yes, you do have lovely hair. You really do. Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on here. We're going to get ready to go for break here at the bottom of the hour. The Spiritual You with Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation happens the first Tuesday of every month. You can check out her websites, GeraldineOrozco.com, BayAreaMeditation.com. More of the Spiritual You coming on up.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com. Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio. Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, enjoying the warmth. Yes, no more negative temperatures here. Hey, don't forget, a great way to support what we do on a nightly basis on Spaced Out Radio is to head to our website, spacedoutradio.com, click on our shop tab. There, I want you to be able to get yourself a t-shirt, hats, hoodies, you name it, we got it, and some great product. It's a great way, once again, to support what we do on a nightly basis. Tonight, we are talking with Geraldine Orozco from BayAreaMeditation.com. And, of course, she comes in the first Tuesday of every month with a little ditty we call around these parts, The Spiritual You, our favorite master of Zen and Chi. Geraldine, welcome back to the show.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much.
Oh, anytime. Anytime. And right before the break, we were talking about UFO MegaCon, but you also have some other exciting personal news that coming up in just a couple of short months on Netflix, you were part of a movie that will be on there called Extraordinary, The Seeding. And I'm hearing, confirm this with me, because I am hearing that this movie is so well done, it's already winning awards.
It is. It is such an incredible honor to be a part of this film and the work. Director John Stumple with J3 Films, they created this film called Extraordinary, The Seeding, and I was in Pasadena 2 weeks ago for the premiere, and we actually won. We won for Best Documentary and for Best Director. It was just such an honor, and the team that creates this film is just extraordinary. And we're very excited to see what happens next. Melinda Leslie was there, Barbara Lamb, Yvonne Smith. So many incredible people that were participating that have stepped out to share their story. Really, Robert Fullington is also in that film. April, let me get her last name, April Malloy, to pronounce that correctly. April Malloy is on the film as well. And so it is just a collaboration of experiencers that have really just stepped up and put everything aside to talk about their true life experiences. And it's very well done. We talk to experts, they talk to the experiencers, they bounce back all of these ideas, and it's very well organized. So I'm not surprised that it won, and I'm so thrilled and happy to do that. A special thanks and shout out to Lori Wagner, who is the producer of this film. They're like a family. They're incredible. So keep an eye out for that. Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a series, isn't it? Is this the same company that did the Stan Romanek story from a couple of years ago?
That's exactly right. His first film was the Stan Romanek, and that film was another very well-done film. And the third part is coming out. I'm not sure when. I don't have details for that, but you guys can check on the website, j3films.com, to check out what's the next step, what's going to be put out next. So it's all about the hybridization program and the different aspects of ET contact. They dive really deep into it, and it's very well done. It's not just, like any a cheap film or anything like that. It's very well done, very well produced.
I got to tell you, I'm on the j3films.com website looking at this picture that they have of these grays with a little baby hybrid in like an incubator. And I got to tell you, that middle gray looks very, very familiar. I don't know why. No. It's not Carl, but I got a little bit of goosebumping happening looking at this thing, thinking, uh-oh. Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. I love it when that happens.
Yeah, and that's great that you said that, Dave, because you as an experiencer yourself, you're going to relate to some of the things that we talk about. I mean, we really get into some taboo subjects that have never before been discussed in mainstream like this. And, that's what really makes this film special. And the purpose of putting a film out like this, of putting ourselves out there so openly in such a vulnerable space, is to share these intimate experiences that have really transformed our lives. I mean, it's paradigm shifting, not just from the perspective of how you view the world, but physically, emotionally, everything. Some of you that know my story and also Dave's story, how it's changed our lives so much to, bring the focus, so much as to focus on talking about these things so that people can understand themselves and their experiences better. That's the whole purpose of this. So because of this film is why I started the hybridization support group, to provide a place for people to talk about these experiences, have a place to go when they have those difficult questions that they can't even talk to their gynecologist about, or their friend or their family or even their husband, and we're talking about men too, men that experience these things and don't know what to do. So there's a lot that goes into this, from the psychological aspect to the emotional aspect to the physical aspect. This is a very real phenomena that we are just coming into. And, my hope is that it opens space for new research, taking this a little bit more serious, as it should, giving it the place that it needs in our reality.
So with the movie Extraordinary, The Seeding, this is about alien hybridization. For people who maybe have never heard your story before and why it's a part of this film, do you mind going into detail a little bit about what's happened with you and how this came about?
Yes, absolutely. And just to correct regarding the Netflix release, must make sure that we correct. It's going to be out on Amazon and iTunes June 4th, and Netflix. It'll be out on Netflix after. We don't have a date for that yet. We're not sure when that's going to be out exactly. We don't want to give any wrong dates, so make sure that you know that. So June 4th, check out for it on Amazon and iTunes and Prime. But how did I get into this? Are you talking about how I got involved with the movie to begin with?
Well, let's start with your own experiences, and then let's get into how you got found for the movie.
Yeah. So, as you know, my experiences, when I first had my my first regression in 2017, it wasn't actually till the second regression in November that, I went into several of my abduction experiences since the age of 16 and 17. And during that time is when I experienced the first complete process of the hybridization. So the implantation, the gestation process, and the extraction. I went through the entire process, reliving how it happened and how it linked to my life. So, for example, when I was 16 years old, I got really sick after the first implantation. And a lot of times these implantations don't come without technology. So there will be technology that will be implanted. And, they take your genetic material, and sometimes they do an insemination. And so when that happens, then the body reacts to that. That obviously is a physical reaction. And every time that would happen, I would end up sick. I would end up either with something that was like a very severe stomach flu, or, a flu, or something that the body was really heavily rejecting. And during that time, I found that I was allergic to antibiotics and any other medications. I mean, I can't take anything. I don't even take Tylenol. I don't drink. I don't do any kinds of drugs or smoke or anything because my body just cannot take it. So, and all of these things kind of accumulated, and you don't realize the parallels until you go through the regression and you understand the connection of these based on the timeline. Because when they're actually happening to you, you don't make the connection. You never make the connection that this is some kind of ET contact. And so, I have the medical records that, show those kinds of experiences. And it's been an interesting ride, and even my family has been involved in some of these experiences as well. So over all of these experiences, I ended up with 24 hybrid children and a part of 4 different hybridization programs, some of which are seem to be categorized as higher frequency, some of them as lower frequency, and others that are, I guess, in a military laboratory kind of a field. So, they're all different, but the end goal is the same, and that's actually what I was talking about in my presentation this time, is that exchange of consciousness, or how consciousness is being directed in these experiences, because you are creating a whole entire being utilizing the genetic material from an organism, a human, from someone. And so that there's a lot of information that occurs there. So over those experiences, over a lifetime of having those experiences, I think what ended up happening was that all of these regressions, I made them public because in my personal experience, I had a hard time finding someone that can answer those difficult questions that I had about what was happening to me, And it's hard to find that person that says, well, this is ET contact. And until I started to make friends within the UFO field and I actually started sharing, for example, in Misha Johnston, she has her support group. That's really the first time that I was able to kind of discuss those experiences so openly and receive the support that I was looking for, to help me kind of integrate what had happened. So it's really interesting, and I think through that and through all the other information that I received about, the DNA lineages and how they come and seed life on the planet, and what we're talking about here is a hybridization program since the beginning of life, seeding on this planet. We're not just talking about a couple one-off experiences here. We're talking about an entire human race, and the possibility that we are this hybridization race. We are all a combination of multiple, mix of DNAs of different species. And, because I can see the multidimensional body, and as a result of my abduction, I had the ability of seeing the multidimensional body, and that helps me kind of see how this information is exchanged. First in our physical body here amongst us, amongst humans, but then also how we are exchanging information with other dimensional beings, interdimensional beings, how the body and the human is actually fragmented within multiple dimensions. And it's important that we start understanding how the human body operates, because then we can understand how to work with these experiences, the quote-unquote illusion of a life that we're living here within this concept of a matrix reality that we live in. And, I think what happened is that after I did my presentation at MUFON, a lot of this information came out. It seemed to resonate with some people. And really, Lorian Fenton from the MUFON here in Sonoma was the one that referred my name as the possibility for the film to the producer of the film, Lori Wagner. And so from there, they invited me to speak with them and to talk about my experience. And just like that, it just happened, They asked me to participate and to share about my experience. And, of course, I'm very open about it. So, it wasn't a problem. It was a good match.
So when you're going through this filming aspect of this, how much, as you are recollecting your story for Extraordinary, does it replay in your head? I mean, to say that you have had 25 hybrid children taking, I think a lot of people will say, well, you carried 25 babies, because that's kind of the way we look at it. But that isn't the case at all.
Yeah, so in the film, I'm talking about, the process of how the hybridization occurred and my experience in different ways. And the way that they directed this film is very interesting. They go from one experience to another, kind of highlighting these experiences. And you start to see, as you watch the film, the parallels of experiences, and kind of piece together the overall view of how this hybridization is very possible, and how it really affects our life, So it's really, really important that we look at people's experiences at face value. We take them at face value and understand what they're going through. For me, the concept of carrying these children, these hybrid children, obviously we at that point have to understand and consider that we are living in a multidimensional reality. And a lot of these things that even though we get pulled out of maybe this physical 3-dimension into a craft, and we are, experiencing these things as part of the hybridization program, the human body is still very much going to experience, a physical reaction to that. And that's what happened. That's what happened with myself. That's what happened with April in the film, that they talked to April, and also many other of the experiencers that are there talking about their experiences. They have medical problems. They have, problems with their menstruation cycle. So heavily affecting our lives, where to the point where some of us can't have children. We have even our uterus removed, and we still experience some of these things. So it's really important to kind of look at these things and how the hybridization affects our life, our real life here.
Geraldine, how psychologically troubling is it for you or anybody going through this experience? Because I think for a lot of us, we probably, myself included, don't know how often or how much this is truly happening.
Yeah, I mean, psychologically, here's the thing. For me, my personal experience, I am a person that needs to know the truth, needs to get my answers to my questions, and no matter how far, how deep I need to go into it, because of my spiritual background, like I didn't fear what I was going to find. Okay, and that helped me in a sense get into these regressions and ask the difficult questions. What happened? What did I experience? What was I seeing? What was I feeling? And it was really, really important that I really was honest about those things. And sometimes that's where the disconnect happens with a lot of experiencers. They don't want to know. They're not ready to look at the information. They don't want to see what happened. And that's perfectly fine. But if you are going to go into these questions and ask them, don't be afraid to ask, more questions about it. And it's not, it's not something that you come from a perspective of fear. You absolutely have to understand the bigger picture, and that's what helped me. From the perspective of consciousness.
I think a lot of people, Geraldine, though, as we got about 3 minutes left before we got to go to break, when they look at this whole thing, the whole idea of hybridization, they look at it in nefarious type ways. Would you say that this is of some sort of malevolency, that these beings, whomever they may be, are coming down, basically taking you against your free will, and taking the seeds of life from you?
Well, there's a lot of things that people need to understand. Not all of these experiences are negative. They're not. Some people have beautiful, amazing experiences when they are experiencing this hybridization program. And other people have traumatic experiences from the perspective that they are put in strange technology, strange apparatus. They are experiencing these things that feel like it's against their will. But when you start looking deeper into these things, Dave, you start to understand that we have certain agreements on some level to experience. We are creating our reality. As you know, I talk a lot about this. We are the masters of everything that we are projecting into our reality. And so that is the number one thing that we need to understand from all levels, from all of these perspectives, But we can get into that when we get back.
Why is that? We got about 90 seconds.
So why is it that we are in charge of our projection, or?
Why are we? I see. This is where I get confused, and maybe we could talk about this after the break. But in regards to the whole free will aspect, and I agree with you. I will be the first one to say that there are good experiences and there are some not good experiences. Not everything is evil or malevolent or however you want to put it. But I think for a lot of people out there, we just cannot understand for the life of us, why we would allow ourselves to be put through this in some sort of free will.
And it has to do with perception, Dave. We are newborns when it comes to understanding how consciousness and how ourselves as humans play a role in the bigger picture of reality. So, the problem is we need to ask the right questions. Who are we? What are we here? What role do we play as humans? And when it comes to this, point where we are met with interdimensional beings, then these questions, that's when they start to change and start to take form, because then you understand that there is an exchange here. And so I'd love to get into that a little bit more when we get back, but perception is very important. If your belief systems come from those of shame and fear and doubt, and that, if somebody does this to you, you are, being violated in some way, of course, you're going to experience that. But there are many ways to look at something. We can't only categorize things in black and white because we don't live in a black and white reality. We have been led to believe that we do, but we don't. And that's what we can come in. Yeah.
Well, why don't we continue that talk in hour number 2 as Geraldine Orozco is here from BayAreaMeditation.com, GeraldineOrozco.com. The Spiritual You happens the first Tuesday of every month. Her next appearance will be Tuesday, May 7th already. Wow. More Spaced Out Radio coming up.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, John and Stacey Edwards join us to talk about death and beyond and a little bit of ET activity. 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, and UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Good to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives can be listened to for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. The only thing I ask in return, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Torakute. Torakute is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot. Support this show by doing a little shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on the SOR Newswire and so much more. The first Tuesday of every month, we are graced with the presence of Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation, and you can find her website at bayareameditation.com or geraldineorozco.com. We do this show called The Spiritual You. Geraldine, always a pleasure to have you on this show.
Oh, always a pleasure to be here, Dave. And I just want to make sure that everybody is aware that where they can find information on when that film is coming out. I want to make sure that there's no confusion. It's on www.j3films.com to find out when things are going to be out and where they're going to be out. But June 4th, it should be on all main streaming websites for that film. So, so we can just go right back into it, Dave.
Right on. We were talking about hybridization and the movie Extraordinary, The Seeding, that has just won some really cool awards in Pasadena, California, the film festival there, and you're a part of that. We were talking about the free will of extraterrestrials and people and the hybridization, everything that's kind of mixed together. And a lot of people aren't understanding how that actually works. And I would like you to get into detail a little bit about that, because as we said right before the break, you have had 25 different hybridization experiences. Some have been good, some have been not so good. Do you, Geraldine, know when it's going to happen?
Yes, well, I've had 24 hybrid children, but I have had many abductions around those 24 children, many what we can call abductions or experiences. I'd rather use the word experiences. Do I know when it's going to happen? Sometimes, yes, and I'll tell you how. And I've learned more and more through going and speaking with my beautiful team of supports that I have now made, like Misha Johnston, like Melinda Leslie, and even my friend Tana Newberry. You know, I learn more and more how they experience, and from talking to hundreds of hybrid mothers, you learn also more about your own experience. And what I've noticed, first of all, is when I start to have strange dreams, and I'm talking about dreams that are unlike normal dreams. For example, you are in a hospital environment, you are being shown ETs, or you have some kind of strange ET type of dream, related dream. So either you are in the presence of some kind of extraterrestrial beings, or you are experiencing something that you are either in a medical environment, in a craft environment. You can start to kind of notice that there's something going on. There's something occurring with a premonition of what's going to happen next. And what happens throughout the day before I start to have an experience, I've noticed, first of all, I will have images of craft come into my mind, or I will have images of ETs or little kind of messages like that. And I'm a person that works very dedicated to clearing my body and my mind. I'm very big on the purification of the body and the mind, so I meditate a lot, sometimes up to 3 hours a day. So, you know, my relationship with myself and my communication is a very clear channel, I'd like to say. And so when I receive things like this, I know very clearly that they are not something normal. It's something out of the ordinary. And another thing that will happen is that I will have pressure change. I would be either, you know, doing a session, working with one of my clients here in my home office, and all of a sudden I will feel a very strong pressure change. And we're not just talking about something that, you know, you can feel from one moment to the other. I'm talking about a very impactful, sensation on the side of your head and the room, and sometimes your ears will pop. And I've heard that a lot from a lot of experiencers, that when they are about to be taken, they start to experience these things. And there's many, many other teller signs, but the majority of the signs will usually appear after the fact. And that is, of course, when you start to have variations in your menstruation cycle as a woman, or as a man also. You have dreams, for example, of this kind of activity. And I dare say what I've noticed in a lot of my experiencers that come to the group, the male experiencers will have dreams of sexual activity as well, okay, more so than they would any other time. And so, as an experiencer, the more that you get into these topics, and I know right now they can seem amusing, but as you get into these as an experiencer, you start to look at the parallels and very, very strict and clear teller signs that help you understand your own experience. And everybody has their own filtration, their ways of filtering these experiences. But obviously, all of these things are occurring around the hybridization program, and so you will see that. Sometimes you will wake up with scars. I wake up sometimes with scars on my legs, or, that are very clear on the body, okay? And I decided to purchase one of those UV lights. There's a special UV light that you can purchase to see if you have any traces of contact on your skin. And many times, even this past week, I've had Stephen Kohlberg. Steve Kohlberg is one of the person that was working very closely with Dr. Lear, investigating implants into the body, and how traces of implants merge with the body, with the biological system. And a part of his setup is he does a lot of scanning of the body, looking for these implantations. And he found new ones on my body this past week, and also new marks of contact with black light as well, which is very interesting. And we're not just talking about any kind of black light. He uses a very specific one to help pick up, I guess, biofluids, or fluorescent fluids within the body. That's very interesting. And so this is how you start to piece together your experience. And these are things that we need to start talking about. And they're things that, unless you do a lot of research, unless you talk to other experiencers that have heard other stories, these are not things that are very easily accessible, you know. So these will all help you kind of understand your experience. And in addition to that, you know, any kind of extrasensory perceptions that you're experiencing from your experience. Some people experience heightened abilities for intuition after their contact. So many different aspects, Dave. And these are just a few of them. So that's how I know when I have had contacts. Mm-hmm.
Right. And, you know, I got to say this, and I've said this a couple times on the show previously. I know as an experiencer myself when those from the stars are coming. And for me, it's a musical note. Now, if everybody remembers The Wall, Pink Floyd's The Wall, right before they play Comfortably Numb, they do this little real deep angelic tone where all of a sudden the voice is, "Is there anybody out there?" And that just repeats, "Is there anybody out there?" And when that starts playing in my head, I know I'm going for a ride. I may not remember it, but that's the trigger for me. That is where I know. And it's amazing. So when you said that you start recognizing the signs of what brings them around and what coincides with your experiences, that triggered that memory for me. I'm like, oh yeah, is there anybody out there? Now, thank goodness it hasn't played in a while. I'm okay with that. But I can say this. Everybody who thinks they may have an experience or thinks they have contact but aren't sure, I guess the idea behind it then, Geraldine, is to look for those signs or some sort of pattern that happens every time you think you've gone.
That's right. So the suggestion is to have a diary of this and, jot it down, have a notebook, just the way you have a dream diary of some sort, have a little notebook where you kind of start to trace down. And I've done this over the years, especially recently, noticing where I start to feel that there's something anomalous happening or occurring or dreams or thoughts. We got to start respecting ourselves and our experiences and the things that we feel are true and real to us. And the more that we start honoring those things, we can come in, to clarity with all these things that are happening. So write them down, take note of those patterns, those things that you see different that are very clear to you, and they're going to help you piece together and, kind of plan and maybe prepare for the future when things continue to happen. And of course, the best way to understand these experiences are through regression, getting that regression done so you can understand. If you are interested in learning more about your experience in going deeper into that, what occurred, get regression, and not everyone's ready for regression, and that's totally fine. Some people don't want to know what happened. Some people aren't ready to see what happened. See, the thing about this, and one of the main points that I talk about and what I want to impart is there is a very deep connection between our spiritual evolution and ET contact. Okay, if you go far enough down the rabbit hole of spirituality, you will be met with the concept of ET life and the role that they play in your consciousness, in your evolution. If you go down the role of ET contact, down that rabbit hole of investigating ET contact, you will be met with spirituality, because you cannot deny the fact that interdimensionality will help you understand that you are far more of an organism, of this multidimensional being than you think. And that's when you start going into the gray areas of every aspect, science, physics, mathematics, religion, and that's where we start to question reality. That's where the truth is. So, be brave, take the time to do the research. All the information is out there. We just have to be able to do our research and focus on that.
I got a bunch of questions lined up for you here. Do you mind if we get to some audience participation?
Let's get into it.
All right. Mike is asking, do hybrid children know they are hybrid children? I've been reading that some people who exhibit empath traits are hybrids. What's your thoughts?
Absolutely, and I love that question because it really raises the question, well, if we have hybrid beings and we have hybrid children here that, for example, incredible people like Mary Rodwell have been studying for years, and so has Barbara Lamb, you're looking at how the differences between hybrid children, there are very clear differences with these new children that are coming into the planet. We're talking about children that are wired differently. They see the world differently. They have new abilities, psychic abilities. Some of them are even telepathic. They just have completely different concepts of reality that are just mind-blowing for the most of us that have been stuck on certain paradigms of the past. And the question is, are these hybrid children genetically modified beings? Because how do they come in with these expansive new modern ways? Just like our technology is advancing, is the human advancing too? So there is some aspect of evolution here that we need to start focusing on. And another part of this is also how we look at these children that are coming in, the hybrid children that are coming in with illnesses that we believe are quote-unquote illnesses like Asperger's disease or ADHD. All of these teller signs of children that are no longer functioning the way that we feel is normal because they're coming in with new frequencies, new vibrations, and those are expressions of intelligence that are more advanced than we are, okay? And so these new humans that are coming in are literally holding a new kind of DNA that is, when I say new, I'm talking about aspects of that DNA that are now activated, that are holding higher strands of information, activated new strands of their information, which we all have, just that some of us are activated more than others, and that is up to you how you handle your organism, how you manage the information that you carry. So, in other words, if you look at history, and I talk about this a lot in my presentations, that as an entire human race, we have, in a sense, somehow been modified genetically, and which means that life that's seeded on this planet is a combination of different species, different genetic lineages. So ultimately, we are all hybrids. We are all a product of these very important combinations of information that allow us to be these interdimensional beings. That's why some of us have our star seeds. We are very connected to certain star families. That is undoubtedly a way for us to understand information that we are privy to, unlike other people. That's what makes us different, right? And so, for example, some of you that identify yourselves as Pleiadian, that's not a coincidence. There are certain lineages of intelligence that you are holding that maybe the other doesn't hold as much because they don't have that information activated in their DNA, for example. So to answer his question, these children that are hybrids, we are all hybrids, and that's my very deep understanding based on the understanding of how DNA stores massive amounts of information, different and many cycles of incarnation. You have incarnated as an ET in other timelines. You have incarnated as other human beings. You have incarnated in other planets. And all of that information is stored within your DNA. And it is available to you. It is available to you through your meditation, through your hypnotic regressions. So it's up to you how you wish to manage that information.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let's move on to more questions here from our audience. This one's coming from Twitter, and this is Jake listening in. Thanks, Jake, for listening in on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. He is asking, in regards to hybridization, does the word insemination mean the same as it does from human to human contact?
Human-to-human contact. Do you mean like, I'm assuming what you're talking about is like when there's intercourse and a man is inseminating into a woman. Right.
Yes.
And yes, we're talking about the same thing. Insemination means that, the biological material of the opposite sex is then implanted into the female organ, and from there begins the gestation cycle. And that's exactly what we're talking about. And some of these procedures are done mechanically, so either through technology, and I have examples of that in my regressions, especially my regression with Alba Wyman, the second one. And there are different ways that they do it, and depending on the kind of agenda or the group of these ET intelligence that are coming to do this, the experience will vary slightly, but ultimately the insemination process is the same. It is something that is inserted in the body, and in my experience also, the kind of technology and the implants that are placed into the body are also there to prepare the kind of procedures that will precede what you're experiencing. So, for example, one time I had an entire body glove put inside of my body to create a certain environment for the kind of information that was going to be placed inside of the biological information that was going to be placed inside of my uterus. And so normally, because we're talking about these beings that are holding higher strands of DNA, more advanced beings, a combination of multiple genetic species, the frequency of these beings are obviously coming in from other dimensions. Okay, so your frequency will designate the plane that you are coming from, right? The physical plane that you're coming from. In our three-dimensional plane, some of these species, some of these informations, they wouldn't operate properly. And so the human body has to be prepared to withstand that kind of level of information, that level of frequency of these new beings. So the technology is put into the body like a glove, and then we are inseminated, and then you go through a gestation process that, even though it made me sick during that time, it was 2 weeks of maybe the body adjusting to that process, and then it was removed. Okay, so this is an example of what occurs and how this kind of interdimensional breeding happens with this kind of information. We're not just talking about, insemination of the regular, substances like regular human semen. We're talking about genetically modified information that has been implanted into the body, and that has its consequences and it has a process. So that's what we're talking about. Now, another aspect that I'd like to add to this is there are also situations where they create screening experiences. So, for example, a man will have a dream that he is, having intercourse with this beautiful woman, and everything seems quite normal up until maybe towards the end of that, when he becomes aware of what's occurring. The screen or holographic image of this beautiful woman will then disappear, and it's true, whatever they wish to show you, really, a true embodiment of maybe another ET species, a reptilian, or anything else. I've heard many, many examples of this. And so that is another way that they do it. And my belief in that, why would they go through the trouble of doing that? And if you understand how information is imprinted into the DNA and how important the intention behind this kind of energetic exchange really affects the product, the end product, then you understand why they would do that. So that's
Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break. We're going to continue with more audience questions with Geraldine Orozco and the Spiritual You, which happens the first Tuesday of every month. Geraldine's websites, GeraldineOrozco.com, BayAreaMeditation.com. We'll be back with more right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything is an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you for coming along for the ride tonight. Geraldine Orozco is our guest from BayAreaMeditation.com. Before we bring Geraldine back on, I want to remind all of you a great way to support what we do on this show nightly is to head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, click on the shop tab, pick up some of our Spaced Out Radio gear for yourself. It's a great way, once again, to support what we do on a nightly basis. Geraldine Orozco is here the first Tuesday of every month with The Spiritual You, where we get into everything from meditation to Zen to Chi to ET contact, hybridization. She can run the whole gamut. Her website, BayAreaMeditation.com or GeraldineOrozco.com. Some of the best hair in the biz as well. Geraldine, welcome back.
Thank you, Dave. Oh, my God, you cracked me up. Thank you.
Hey, we always like to point out good hair here, and you got good hair.
And you have the second good hair in the business. How's that? I'm
not gonna disagree with you at all, my friend. We were continuing with audience questions here, so I would like to continue with that. And there are a number of questions from, and I apologize, I'm gonna butcher this young lady's name, and I feel so bad. Jigyasa. I believe she's from India.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Love her. She's so wonderful.
I really hope I pronounced her name right. But thank you for tuning on in. And she's got a number of questions here, so we'll break them down and let her ask here. First question is, can ancestral trauma be healed by just cutting giant ancestral cords and removing contracts on a daily basis? What is the main reason for resistance of this?
Fantastic question. So when we have ancestral trauma, what we're talking about is patterns of information that are passed down genetically, and they are passed down through our mitochondrial DNA. The mitochondrial DNA is the part of ourselves that is like a photocopy, an aggregate photocopy of all our past experiences since the very beginning of this lineage. And so what ends up happening is that we have networks of families. So, for example, there's you, and your network will be made up of you, your father, your mother, your grandfather, great-grandfather, and all the way down that lineage to the beginning of its origin. Now, what keeps this network glued together or magnetically aligned with each other, with the information, and what keeps that information binding these, let's say, souls together, is that they are cycling through the similar frequencies of experience, frequencies of information. So what we have is for example, our great-great-great-grandmother that was in an abusive relationship, and then, of course, that information is passed down to her daughter, and then it ends up with, let's say, you. And you are now living through a lot of these patterns and experiences and information. And the rules of our society play a huge role in that, because we're talking about an entire society built on these patterns that are passed down through generations. So as we clean up, what we are cleaning up then, if we understand that, is the root cause of the pattern. So if you take, for example, that trauma that you are dealing with in your present life, and you understand how you are living that trauma over and over again, what are your patterns, you start to see that it affects many parts of your life. It's going to affect your relationship life, your career life, and your own personal perception of yourself. So diving into that emotion, opening that up and understanding the different fragments of yourself that were created through that trauma. You see, every time that we experience trauma, we experience a fragment of our soul literally breaking off and creating that fragment which is suspended in each one of those experiences. So when I talk about reintegration, I'm talking about going back to each one of those fragments and reintegrating the information that was occurring there. And when I talk about reintegration, I'm talking about a very deep understanding. That means that you, as a human, as an organism, you are 100% clear about the role that you play in those different circumstances. So how imbalanced is your perception? Are you taking on things that don't belong to you? Are you acting out of fear, out of insecurity? What's happening there in those exchanges that cause you to come into this state of trauma, fear, and pain? That's really important to become aware of, because when you go through that understanding of the role that you're playing, there's a huge, tremendous opening that happens. And that is where it provides you the ability for really true understanding and true healing. And that's how integration can then take place. So this not only allows you to heal your own emotional trauma, but your network, because you're healing now patterns that have been passed down through generations. And the majority of these experiences have been shared experiences, like with your parents or with your family. And so that's how you start cleaning up. The contractual agreements that you were talking about are contractual agreements that we are made. And that term is maybe sounding more like a cliche, but what we're talking about is the information that we share with our family, the information that we share with anyone. It can be our family, our partner, our friends, and even ourselves. That's what we talk about when we're talking about contractual agreements. So the exchange that is occurring to understand ourselves better, okay? And so all that information that helps us understand where we are out of balance, where we have chosen to be out of balance, that helps us bring those experiences back into a state of balance, okay? And that's the kind of healing that I do, and if you have more questions on that, I can love to go a little bit deeper, but I really hope that helped answer your question.
All right, let's continue with another question from Jigyasa, pardon me. While listening to the inner voice, how do you differentiate whether it's ego or the higher self?
That is another awesome question. Thank you for asking that. And so how we start to understand the difference, there are a couple things, but most importantly, the messages that come through fear, the messages that come from insecurity, from self-doubt, any kind of lower frequency emotion in that range is going to allow you to see what is coming from a higher aspect of yourself or a lower aspect of yourself. Now, the ego always wants to protect something. It wants to protect its identity. It wants to protect itself from coming into vulnerability. So I want you to notice, like when you start having this dialogue with yourself, what parts of you are starting to feel resistance when you come up on some information. Like, for example, maybe I am afraid of being authentic, or maybe I'm afraid of being vulnerable, for example, with a partner or with a friend. So right there is a perfect way for you to kind of understand that this is a great little marker for you to focus on. That if you start coming into those feelings of something is being protected, some information is not in full balance, then you can start to see that that's the ego playing a role. And the ego is incredible. It's very intelligent. It will always try, even with yourself, to kind of run away from seeing certain aspects of yourself. How do you know that it's your true authentic self? Is that you're coming from a complete place of unconditional love for yourself, that you are relaxed, you are calm, there is no fear, there is no anxiety, and you are really open to the information that you are looking at in this communication. And it's the same thing when you are receiving channeled messages, when you are receiving information from entities or from any beings that we feel are high vibrational beings. How do we know? Is when we receive information that is fearful, that is demanding, that is, trying to protect certain aspects of ourselves, anything that is out of balance is going to be a sign. Sure, greed, any of those things that are out of balance perspectives are pulling you away from your true core essence. Okay, so those messages should always come from balance, from a very deep connection, okay? From that state of neutrality. Yeah, so that's how I would describe that.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let's continue on here because we do have other questions. Joey is asking, why is it that a human is even needed to incubate the hybrid? When we're getting back to hybrid children here.
Wow, that's a great question. And there is a lot to this because, of course, we are having to look at the different species that there are out there. And I'm going to talk to you from my research, from my perspective, and what I have experienced personally. Now, when we talk about the greater picture of the hybridization program, we are talking about human consciousness, okay? I want you to look at it from this perspective. You are not just this human physical body living this life of a story of getting up, going to work. You are consciousness. In infinite consciousness in your body. And as you start to, go about your life and experience these life experiences, what you start to realize as we get into the spiritual realm as well is that a lot of the experiences in our life, like this kind of trauma that we were talking about earlier, they are kind of meant to push you forward, to help you become aware of yourself, to almost, it's consciousness becoming aware of itself through all of these experiences, a range of happy moments, sad moments, whatever it is, you are experiencing this human life. Now, The purpose of consciousness on every level is for it to become aware of itself. That is just the natural function of how consciousness works, okay? And so when we look at these species, these beings that are off-planet, we're talking about an intelligence that is different from us in the sense that they are made differently. And what I have seen is that these beings, first of all, they don't operate physically the same way that we do. They don't live in a three-dimensional reality. They live on other dimensions, and in those dimensions, math, physics, all the sciences will not apply. It will be a completely different realm of understanding of reality. They do not procreate the way that we do. So in order to create human beings or any kind of humanoid type of species that function within the same parameters that humans do, we need to understand how humans operate. Humans are multidimensional beings, okay? And what they are holding here in this present moment is like a projection of consciousness, and we are all projecting towards each other and amongst each other kind of these collective experiences. These beings that are working on other dimensions do not have the ability to procreate, genetically the way that we do, and so they require an organism to be able to do that, to bring to life this combination of imprint of information. Now, this is why I talk about DNA as the currency of the universe, because what's actually being exchanged is information. When information is exchanged of different species, that organism that is created from the several combination of those species has the ability to communicate within those lines of information, within those different species. So what happened with these species through history, in a sense, they have somehow become a parasitic intelligence. And if we look at how the dynamic of consciousness works in our reality, anything that rejects itself, anything that is in denial of its own consciousness becomes either ill, but it always becomes parasitic. It comes out of balance or parasitic. Mm-hmm. And so in that sense, these kinds of species that require another life form to create and to procreate this life form, they need to continue expanding, this consciousness so that it continues to provide this kind of life force for them to continue surviving in this parasitic exchange. And the parasitic exchange can happen on multiple levels that we may not even understand. Okay, so this is what's happening, and it's very important that we understand that as humans, we are not victims in any way to all of this, because the law of the universe is that we all have free will, and free will comes into play when you become aware of that free will. If you're not aware of that free will and how to utilize it, then of course you're going to be utilized as a puppet, as a parasitic, as a result of that parasitic exchange. And that's true in everything, even in our own personal relationships.
Got a question from a good friend of ours here, and yours as well, Jordan Peace, who helped put on the incredible UFO MegaCon with Lorian Fenton, another good friend of this show, this past week in Laughlin, Nevada. Great job, by the way, Jordan. I know you're listening. He is asking, alien implants, what's the difference between physical implants and etheric implants? Do they function the same way?
That's an amazing question, and thank you so much for listening. There is a very interesting difference between these two implants, and one of them has to do, well, first of all, how they are implanted into the body. One of them, all we're talking about really is a different range of frequency that creates this implant, this information that is now going to be binding to your organism. Physical implants are basically technology that is basically grown with your biological information in order to merge into your body. And so basically they use your information to grow this kind of technology and then re-implant it into the body. And what happens is that it'll either translate and communicate information that your organism is providing for that implant for whatever reason. For example, implants to check when the human body, when the female body is ready to produce eggs, ready to come into the, to procreation. And so that is one, for example. Now, when we're talking about etheric implants, this is a whole different level because we're talking about another dimension of frequency, higher frequency, that is now implanted and merged with your energetic body. And so just the fact that you asked that question helps us really understand how multidimensional our human organism really is. Because if we didn't believe that there were etheric implants, we wouldn't know that we have such a multidimensional body. Our body is comprised of many different levels dimensionally. The chakra system is one base coordination system that allows us to navigate those dimensions and is also connecting us to the different dimensions. Each one of the layers of the human body is connecting you to different realms of reality around you. So these etheric implants are placed in alignment with the frequency of each one of those different layers, or one of those different layers in your body, which means that it is information that is in alignment with what is there. So let me give you an example. An implant that is put in to feed off, let's say, fear-based programming is going to be connected to the root chakra, which is also connected to the immediate outer layer of your body, and that is connected to your emotional body. So what happens? Every time that this being, this organism, has an emotional reaction to something, that information is communicating with that implant. And so oftentimes what ends up happening is that a lot of these implants cause a disturbance in your energetic field and throws off the organism completely. And so we end up getting sick, and we feel like we have an attachment, or we feel that we have backache or some kind of pain within the body. It is now manifested into a lower frequency because it is interacting with the information that is in alignment with the frequency of that implant, okay? So it's getting a little bit more complex. But what happens is that these implants can be removed. The etheric implants can be removed by removing and detaching those kinds of energetic frequencies that are now stuck within that space. And so as you train yourself to see your multidimensional body, you have the ability of seeing these implants in your body. I have had implants removed from my wrist that were etheric implants that have manifested into literally, they look like little moles. They will present themselves like little moles on the physical level, but on an etheric level, they are actually something that cause pain or blockages within, let's say, the left side of my body. And so as you start working with an energy healer or a shaman that can see these, you can start removing them out of your space. So
and Geraldine, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because I forgot to give you a time update. Geraldine Orozco will be with us another 30 minutes on The Spiritual You on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back. At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother Is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother Is Watching.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the show, John and Stacey Edwards are here. We're going to talk ET contact, paranormal, death, and beyond. What happens? Going to be eerie and interesting, starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hey, I want to give you all a reminder. We got an extremely special guest on Thursday who doesn't do a lot of interviews. George Knapp will be with us. We're going to talk ATIP, UFOs, Bob Lazar, Skinwalker Ranch, To the Stars. We're going to get into it on Thursday. I'll give you more details tomorrow. Welcome back to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, in Noonan, Georgia, WQEE 99.1 FM, over in Reedsport, Oregon, KNUN AM 1030, and in New Orleans, we have UPRN 107.7 FM. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Thank you so much for tuning us in. Remember, all of our archives are free. Go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Toracta. Toracta is your password. Nobody knows what it means, but the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. A good way to support this show, go to our Spaced Out Radio store, click on the shop tab on our website, get yourself some swag. That's what we do for you. And, of course, you could read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. For the final time tonight, we introduce Geraldine Orozco from Bay Area Meditation.com. If you want to check out her site, or GeraldineOrozco.com. She comes on the first Tuesday of every month with The Spiritual You. Geraldine, always a pleasure to have you here. We're going to continue with audience questions right to the bottom of the hour.
Let's do it. Happy to be here.
All right. Perfect. And thank you to Jordan Peace from Architects of the New Paradigm for listening in as he's driving home from UFO MegaCon back home to Oregon. Drive safely, my friend. And, of course, we're going to continue on here. RJ has a question. Given that all life forms are both cycling through reincarnation and evolving, what is the ultimate purpose of the hybridization program, and how does this tie into growing spirituality?
Amazing question. Yes, all beings are going through a certain reincarnation cycle, but I believe that the reincarnation cycles are also managed on different levels. So each reincarnation cycle is a little bit different, and within that is perhaps there is something that is managing or directing how that consciousness is cycled through that reincarnation cycle. And the reason why I would suggest that is because as we are seeing these life forms coming in and out of different, shapes, forms, frequencies, they are somehow adding to their experience, to that life cycle that they're experiencing. Now, there's another side of this also. Humans, for example, that are here on this earth, we're cycling through this kind of cyclical, reincarnation cycle. But we have to take into consideration the kind of life that we're living in this particular timeline. So on Earth, we have a highly compartmentalized reality. And so depending on which dimension you are incarnating in, for example, we are in this fourth dimensional reality here, we are experiencing and processing through a compartmentalized reality that a lot of the times humans feel extremely separate and isolated from the larger aspect of themselves. So that tells us something. That tells us that through this cyclical cycle, there is an opportunity to understand unity, integration of this cyclical life pattern. So that helps you understand what part of consciousness is exploring through this temporary timeline. And in the same way that we're analyzing our current timeline, we can start to look at other aspects of life forms. So other life forms that are living, other species that are on other dimensional realities are experiencing the same thing. They are evolving, although through different parameters, different understandings of how experience is, how life is evolving, and how consciousness is becoming aware of itself through the different parameters of experience. Okay. Now, what role does the hybridization program play? Because we're talking about consciousness, and because we need to understand that in this three-dimensional reality, consciousness is attached or in somehow connected to a physical organism, which is the human body. The human body is connected to its lineage, through its ancestral, through its DNA, because it's a physical body, it's connected to its ancestral lineage. Now that is opening up a whole other dimension of information that pertains solely to this physical dimensional timeline. And any dimension that we are incarnating in, either it's through, let's say, an ET life or an interdimensional species or another aspect of yourself, it's going to connect you to another realm of information. Just like here, we're connected with our family network. So all of this information plays an important role in the information that is held then collectively in this consciousness, in this soul that you are holding into. That is the core essence of information. When there are hybrids created from your genetic material, they are then also pulling from that information, because DNA is not just a physical, aspect. DNA is multidimensional, has that multidimensional aspect as well. And one of the things that I talked about in my presentation is about how DNA is actually holographic, because what seems to be the basic structure of our reality is that all particles of consciousness, all particles of life seem to be in a shape and form that have their own torsional field. And when something has a torsional field, it then creates this magnetic field around it. It has this toroidal element that is then communicating with other organisms around it. And when we have something that is as complex as that, and if you look at all different levels of life, whether it is, this desk, this human body, the light, all of these things have particles to it that are functioning and communicating with each other. And all of those things are imprinting in us, in your human organism, what you are receiving from your surrounding, from all your experiences. All of that is then recorded in the physical body. So the hybridization is basically to collect that information that is then being received into the body. And what it is that we are having these new children that are a connection to all of the different species that they are made up of. It is a connection to the information that all of these species are made up of, and it is created on a higher dimensional plane, which means that it has access to navigating those multiple planes. So, in a sense, we are expanding the embodiment of this consciousness in the universe with the replication of this biological matter through the hybridization program to continue this cyclical reincarnation cycle, in other words. And for other programs, some of them can be more pro-life and some of them can be more maybe darker, agendas to maintain these life forms. So I know that this is a very complex topic, and there's much more to this that's important to understand, but this would be a short answer. And ultimately, evolution, that our concept of evolution, which is quite limited, please understand, is a natural aspect of all living beings in this multiverse. Okay, so we are all evolving, all working through the different parameters of illusion of life, of all these experiences, because ultimately you are infinite consciousness becoming aware of itself, experiencing itself through all of these different dimensions.
Let's move on to Gail's question. And she is asking, people are labeled many things. Is there any indication hybrids will produce indigo children?
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I mean, indigo children are a certain kind of children, and supposedly indigo children, have a certain parameters to what defines them as indigo children. Now, when we talk about the different kinds of children, rainbow children, indigo children, there have been many waves of these children that come in at certain timelines. So that's one thing that we need to take into consideration. Okay, so depending on how we're moving through the universe, different waves of children will come in, because the new children that are coming in are now newly in alignment with the new dimension that's being created. So let's say right now we're moving fourth to fifth dimension, then these new children will come in. And right now, starting in 2017, we had a new wave of children that are coming in with dual souls, for example. Okay, so that means that in a sense they are modified so that they can sustain more information within them. They are able to navigate through two different souls within them, two aspects of themselves, which are fragmented. So when we talk about these children, there's many different categories for these kinds of children. It's basically just outlining their specific information that they're privy to, certain characteristics that are unique to these waves of children, such as the Indigo, for example. And so any number of them can and will have hybrid children. Okay, so again, we tend to think of hybrids as an isolated, isolated thing, a thing that only happens to certain kinds of people, certain families. We are all hybrids. We are all a combination of multiple genetic combinations. So the children that are coming in, we might define them as crystal children, rainbow children, indigo children, but what we're talking about is genetically modified beings that are have their DNA activated in a sense, so they are now the new human. Mary Rodwell just wrote a book called The New Human, which I highly recommend, and she talks about this, about the new strands of DNA that are activated in them. But what they're here to show us, my loves, is that we all have the capacity to activate our DNA to mimic and mirror these exact beautiful advanced characteristics that these hybrids hold. Okay, so you have the ability in you to activate that DNA, your intuition, your ability to utilize technology, your ability to all of these fascinating things that we feel are so unique to these hybrids are actually just allowing us to understand what happens when we clean up our genetic make, our DNA, when we work with our technology of our human body. So that's how I'd love to answer that question. And, if you think your child is an indigo child, or you think you're an indigo and you have a hybrid, more than likely you definitely have a hybrid children. And again, it's my belief that we are all hybrids. So look out for those special traits. And there's a lot of wonderful information out there. If you're a parent and you want to learn how to deal with your child that is a hybrid or a special child, please check out Mary Rodwell's work. She talks a lot about this, about the new parenting, how to deal with children that are now special coming into this new world. There's a new way that we need to start learning how to become.
All right. I got another question from Gail here. She is asking, if there is a hybrid kid on planet Earth, how did the kid get from the alien craft to Earth? What age is suitable for transition, and how do they live regarding shelter, food, and clothing?
That's a great question. And, we were discussing this on our radio show last weekend, which, again, I had Mary Rodwell. And I'm referring to Mary Rodwell because her work is very specifically focused on this exact topic about how to feed the children, how to relate with the children. And there's a lot of education that we as a collective need to come into regarding this. It's very important because how we thought our children, our old paradigm was categorizing these special children as having learning disabilities, of having other diseases, that they're incapable of being in class and learning and getting the going through the education system. But what's actually happening is that these children have absolutely a new way of looking at all our reality, our structured reality. So we need to learn how to provide a space for them to come into their full expression. And that has to do with the food. So we're talking about high vibrational food. We're talking about no longer feeding them high sugary foods, processed foods that we already know, we adults experience it ourselves, that it numbs us down, it makes us sick, it really destroys our DNA genetically. And I talked a little bit about that in my presentation, but there is so much information out there that I invite you to look at. Okay, food is very important. So these children are requiring a different way of eating, different way of interacting. From exercise, being more in nature, they require a more healthy, balanced environment to help sustain them, to help nurture and help them develop the abilities that they are so specially classified and categorized for. They're characteristics that make them special. You know, how do you teach them? They are no longer going to be learning out of the textbooks that our educational system are trying to, you know, continue to teach, because it doesn't work anymore. We know that the history books are not showing the true history. We know that we're questioning our physics, and new science and physics are coming out every day that we need to, that are very important to understanding our reality. And these children, they know that. You know, a lot of the math, some of them are so advanced, you know, it looks like they're failing in class, but in reality, they're not being challenged enough. You know, their mind capacity to process information is higher. So there is a lot that goes into this. And now your question about how do we insert the hybrids into the timeline, there's many ways that this occurs, okay? First of all, when a child is born, they are already embodying that hybrid soul. They already have that information in their genes, in their genetic make, in their DNA. So they are then, depending on the environment that we provide for them, either enhancing or inhibiting those aspects and characteristics of them. That's why it's really important for us to educate ourselves as parents now. Now, you mentioned, you know, are they inserted? Now, what does happen with some of these hybrids that are coming to Earth, they are born. They are born on this planet. We want to think of time as a linear thing, the past and the future. It is not like that. It is more like a web. Each one of us are at the center of our own web, and we are communicating interdimensionally with multiple aspects of ourselves. And in that same way, these hybrids have their own web, so they come into consciousness, into the embodiment, whenever they are in alignment with that dimensional timeline. Okay? Let's cut it short. You know we're going.
Right. All right. Well, we got another question, and this will be our final question of the night, as we only got about 3 minutes left with you tonight. We're going to give it to Jordan Peace, because he sent me a picture from UFO MegaCon about you and him. You know, your hair is looking fantastic, and Jordan's hair is starting to grow out. It looks fantastic, too. He just needs some more length, like old Davey here. You know, and I know he's laughing listening, but he says, I'm supposed to ask you about human hair as a spiritual antenna. So are you saying I'm going to be more awakened, and people like Jordan who are growing out the manes going to be a little bit more attuned because of our lengthy locks?
That's an awesome question. I love that. And the answer to that is yes, possibly. As a matter of fact, you know, there was a research that was done. These scientists in Russia, they measured the electromagnetic field of a body that had a lot of hair, you know, a person that had a lot of hair and a person that didn't have a lot of hair. And it was very interesting that I don't know if it was the static communication or their energetic field that they created, that torsional field around their body, was emitting a stronger signal when they had longer hair than when they didn't have as much hair. Okay, this was scientifically proven and tested in a lab in Russia. And so that was really interesting, because what's happening then, and what we're becoming aware of, is that literally every particle of your body is conscious, okay? And as I mentioned before, our chromosome, even our one chromosome, has a torsional field. So everything in the human body is alive, it's conscious, and it's communicating. It is communicating with your surrounding. It is absorbing energy. And the more of you that there is, depending on the information that is at the core of this organism, you are going to be in alignment with that information. Now, this hair may be an antenna, but what drives the information that you are in alignment with is what's at the center core of this organism, okay? So your filtration systems, your perception, if you're coming from fear, if you're coming from insecurities, all of those things will match you with how you're going to experience your life. So it's not enough to have, in other words, it's not enough to just have long hair and all of a sudden you're a spiritual being. You know, what matters, what dictates the frequency that you are emitting as a total organism, a multidimensional being, is what's at the center core of that organism. So, you know, it doesn't mean that you don't have to meditate or do all that heavy work. You still have to do the work, even if you have long hair.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to keep on growing because my antennas are getting longer. They're getting longer, Geraldine. Do me a favor, in about 20 seconds, tell everybody where they can find you.
If you want a DNA reprogramming with me, you can find me at GeraldineOrozco.com. I work internationally online through Skype and Zoom. And if you are an experiencer, hybrid mother or father, you can visit me at hybridmother.com for my experiencer groups, which are held at every 2 weeks on Facebook and Zoom. So it was such an honor to be here again. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next month.
Absolutely. We will talk to you on May 7th. Geraldine Orozco, one of my favorites in this field, but we're saying goodnight to her for another month. Coming up next, the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on the mighty SOR. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting at the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Remember, a good way to support this show, head over to our website, click on our shop tab, pick yourself up some Spaced Out Radio swag, show it off, take a picture for us. It's a great way to support what we do on a nightly basis. Let's get to the news, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get into the weird, the wacky, the WTF. All of our news can be found at spacedoutradio.com. Click on the news tab. Captain Shirk, our news director, has you all ready for all of these strange, weird stories. Sometimes they're pretty cool. I'm going to admit this. Sometimes they're pretty cool. And this is a story that we can all get behind and finally stand up, clap, and cheer. Because in the United States, the U.S. Agricultural Department announced today that they are finally putting an end to a controversial research program that killed thousands of cats over decades. Literally since 1982, they've been conducting experiments on kitties with toxoplasmosis, a disease usually caused by eating undercooked contaminated meats, just to see what the reactions would be. Once the cats were infected and the parasite harvested, they put the kitties down. Well, that's no more. No more. They figured toxoplasmosis, which could be a password on this show one night, and the research behind it has been redirected, and the use of cats as part of any research protocol has been discontinued effective immediately and will not be reinstated. The USDA says it's in the process of putting the 14 remaining uninfected cats up for adoption, which is awesome. Those kitties are going to get a good home, hopefully. The experiments came under increasing scrutiny recently, as in the last year, because of public outcry over the reports after a report was released that White Coat Waste Project that founded the USDA's research also forced lab cats to eat dog and cat meat obtained in overseas market. Oh, that's not very good. Dubbed kitty cannibalism. Ugh, disgusting. Yeah. Well, they're doing something right once again. But just so you know how toxic this program was, between 2013 and 2018, they euthanized 239 infected cats. Yeah. Terrible. But they've done the right thing. They've shut the program down. So good on them. Sad for the kitties that, approximately like 3,000 cats have been killed because of this program at a cost of about $22 million to American taxpayers. But finally, it is over. The cats have won. Good. Shouldn't be testing on animals in the first place. All right. I don't know if you saw this video in the grocery store, but at the market basket in the bakery department in Wilmington, Massachusetts, a lady named Christiana Bush says she caught sight of an old woman wearing a Victorian-era nightgown and a hair cap standing in the frozen food aisle of the store. She looked down for a second, and when she looked back up, the woman disappeared. According to Bush, the lady looked a little angry with a tad of melancholy. Now, this story has quickly gone viral, including Massachusetts U.S. Congressman Seth Moulton saying on his Twitter that it was strange. Now, Christiana Bush says, I had no idea this was going to go blow up and go viral. I mean, I just posted a random status on Facebook saying, hey, has anyone seen a ghost? Because I just wanted to connect with people. Now, a spokesperson for the company, yes, Market Basket Supermarket has a spokesperson. Her name is Justine Griffin. says, as far as we know, all of our stores are ghost-free. Yeah, sure they are. Because apparently this one is not. Would you shop in a haunted store like that? I sure would. You know. Now you got to wonder, if you took her out of the frozen food section and took her maybe to the pastry aisle, would the ghost be a little bit more happy? Fresh danishes, buns, donuts, cinnamon rolls, pizza pretzels. Now that's happiness. That's happiness right there. So, yes, next time you're shopping, make sure you keep your camera around because you never know where a ghost is going to pop up, even when you're shopping for groceries. Now, this I don't like. Not a fan of this one whatsoever. In Warsaw, Poland, priests at a Catholic parish are under scrutiny right now because they burned books, including the Harry Potter series and other items that their owners said had evil forces. Images from the burning Gdansk Mother of Church Paris were posted on social media by Catholic Foundation SMS Nibia, which stands for SMS from Heaven, which uses unconventional means to carry out religious work. So, other things that were burnt along with Harry Potter? African wooden mask, a small Buddhist figure, figurines of elephants, because we all know there's nothing more that carries the devil more than elephants. And of course, books on personality and magic, as well as those by J.K. Rowling. They were all brought in by parishioners telling the priest, get these out of my home, don't want them, too many evil forces, get rid of them. Now, according to the church, the Harry Potter books are promoting sorcery. Now, a lot of the Polish citizens have taken to criticizing the church because they remember back to the last time this happened, which was right before World War II when the Germans invaded and started burning books. Didn't like that. Yeah. Reverend Wojtek Parafianskowicz, pardon me, that would be Parafianskevich, spokesman for the Diocese of Koszalin, where the foundation is based, said he did not like this form of priestly activity. It is wrong. But he did argue that the occult and magic have a bad influence on human life. And he figured it was better than rather the fall of wise faith on unwise superstition. Wonder if he'd be like the Pope and bless aliens when they come around. What do you think? Let's move on. Now, we've all heard of the Space Force that Donald Trump is bringing in as a sixth tier to the military. But what about the Fish Force? Well, the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, otherwise known as DARPA, has put in motion new research programs entitled PALS, Persistent Aquatic Living Sensors, to determine if various sea creatures, from bioluminescent plankton to Goliath grouper fish, can actually identify subquacious drones from U.S. enemies, especially nuclear submarines. Now, they did use, the United States Navy, that is, used a dolphin to find a 130-year-old torpedo. PAL's program manager, Lori Adornato, said in a statement, if we can tap into the innate sensing capabilities of living organisms that are ubiquitous in the oceans, we can extend our ability to track adversary activity and do so discreetly on a persistent basis and with enough precision to characterize the size and type of adversary vehicles. So my question is, are they going to teach these fish to talk? Are they going to have little radio packs on with headsets, hit the little button with their fin, and as the bubbles go up? Yeah, we got a Russian sub coming in off the coast here of California. Send backup quick. Russian sub, Pacific Ocean, coast of California. I don't know. Sounds a little weird. So just so you know, taxpayers, DARPA is doing this in a 4-year research program. Contributions coming from biology, chemistry, physics, machine learning, analytics, oceanography, mechanical and electrical engineering, and weak signals detection. Guess how much they're spending? $45 million of your tax money going to see if fish, shrimp, and other ocean life can detect threats underwater. But you can't find Bigfoot. We'll get to one more here. Yeah, that story seems like it comes out of Florida. Speaking of Florida, we got a beauty for you. Captain Shirk, she hit a home run with this one. Florida man in Winter Haven drove a stolen Jeep back to the scene of the crime recently to ask if anybody had found his missing cell phone, which was pinging back to the residence. 25-year-old Ronnie Dylan Willis, not having a good day. Well, he arrived at the home of the victim on March 24th in the Tam Jeep Patriot, and he was greeted by the Polk County Sheriff's deputy, who just happened to be conducting an interview about the stolen vehicle. Now, the deputy would probably figure, this might have been an easy arrest, which it was. Put the cuffs on Ronnie. Grand theft auto. There you go. Bingo. The deputy also charged him with driving with a license that was suspended or revoked because it turned out that old Ronnie didn't have a license to drive with. Bad, Ronnie. Bad. He told the deputy that he woke up in one of the victim's vehicles that morning, couldn't remember which one, knocked on her front door but got no answer. Then he hopped into the victim's Jeep and drove away. When he got home, he couldn't find his phone, so he tracked it back to the victim's house. The victim didn't recognize the subject, the same subject who was walking around the street earlier when she left with her husband to go to the mall, but nonetheless, you can't get more guilty than driving back to look for your cell phone at the scene of a crime. Let's get to the thought of the Dave. Thought of the Dave happens every night at this time, where we post a story on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. So today's Thought of the Dave is as follows. In your opinion, what's the connection between supernatural, paranormal, and consciousness? Oh, we delve deep into this one. Deep, I tell you. Start on Twitter. Coley says, a lot. Paranormal is much different energy. ET experiences are real, like you could touch them. Spirits are more translucent in appearance. Two completely different worlds, but there has to be a connection of Bigelow and the ATIP TTSA that they find it important. Let's move on, shall we? All right. Catherine says, the supernatural paranormal is neither super or para. It surrounds us and is part of just being. It requires consciousness or innocence or an openness to the idea of its existence to be aware and hear and or see. I am a fan of the run-on sentences. Yes, those are fantastic. Eric states on Twitter, it's an imperceptible, mind slip into an alternative reality where a blacked-out, souped-up Geo Metro terrorizes Pahrump after midnight. I don't know what that quite means, but we're going to run with it. Let's move on. Bram says, high strangeness can't exist without consciousness, but how? Things just don't happen. There is a reason, but why? I sometimes think that the paranormal is something natural, intimately tied to our cognition. Oh, that's kind of deep. Let's get to Mike on Twitter. I believe supernatural and paranormal are a construct of the universal consciousness and that we as humans have created it, making it funny to watch people on TV ask, is that you? Of course it's them. Our energy made that. Wow. Moving on here. Moving on. By the way, Rich Giordano had a good one today. Basically said, can we please get back to using UFO instead of UAP? I agree with you, Richie G. I agree with you. Back to the thought of the Dave. Vivster says, it's all in what the mind perceives. Ooh, deep. David, consciousness is a huge mystery. We can study the brain and correlate events in the brain with described experience, but we can't really explain why there are conscious experiences connected with those physical events in the brain. Likewise, paranormal phenomena are a huge mystery, or several mysteries, and the psychic ones at least are essentially manifestations of conscious experience. So I think it's a good bet that the two mysteries, consciousness and the paranormal, are somehow connected. Way to go, Dave. That was a brilliant answer. Lisa, I think the supernatural and paranormal has always been there. Most people ignore it or brush it off. Chris, could be a few things. Hallucinations, actual phenomena, quantum consciousness. I think that one needed a few more question marks. Grant, the morphic field, that which connects the 100 monkeys. I don't get that one. Allison, I'm playing around with the idea that our consciousness acts like a filter. Hypothetically speaking, there are many dimensions, realms, existences playing out all around us. Accessing different levels of consciousness allows us to view these. John, letting go of concrete 3D reality and being open to the concept that truth can exist outside perceptual boundaries. We got time for a couple more. We'll get to Devin. It really just is all awareness of frequencies your personal radio is tuned into, and not all radios pick up the same signal. Jim, fear of the unknown and fear of the known. Liz states everything is consciousness and or consciousness is required to experience everything. So yes. Russell, the human aura, EM, mind-heart field is connected to the collective consciousness. The collective unconscious is connected to the Earth's geomagnetic field. Fluctuations in the geomagnetic field is how UFOs, who are always present, manifest into 3D to psychic individuals and sometimes those standing next to them in window areas. Same for cryptids like Bigfoot and Mothman. That's where we're going to call it the day. The Thought of the Dave happens every day on Twitter and Facebook. And don't forget, you can find all of your news put together by Captain Shirk, our news director, at spacedoutradio.com. Click on the news tab for the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Big thank you once again to Geraldine Orozco tonight from BayAreaMeditation.com and GeraldineOrozco.com for coming in for the Spiritual You. She comes in the first Tuesday of every month. Geraldine and her perfectly brushed hair will be back again on Tuesday, May 7th. And it's going to be a good one. Tomorrow night on the show, get ready. John and Stacey Edwards are going to be here. Oh, they're going to have a trip of a story for all of us. We're talking ET contact. We're talking paranormal ghosts everywhere. Death and beyond. Ooh. 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms on Spreaker, the SOR Space Travelers on Facebook, Revolution Radio's chat room, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio, wherever you may be. Remember, my friends, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you for doing your part to make us bigger and better every single night. Because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. See you tomorrow, everybody. Good night.